This video contains no spoilers. I know it's only Snowrunner, it's not like people play this game for its narrative, but nevertheless, the Phase 8 DLC is upon us, and it has 4 maps. This video only shows gameplay from the first one, so there's gonna be plenty of room left for you to be pleasantly surprised when you explore this map on your own with your favorite scout, or the Zik605R. Or maybe the new K700 farm tractor, which is somehow an amazing scout. So hello guys, I'm Firefly, and to my old Snowrunner viewers, it's been a while. Today I want to take a look at the wave of Phase 8 content that were just released onto the Snowrunner public test version, which came out on Tuesday night for me. This is the first wave of Phase 8 content that's been released to the public, which is why I'm pleasantly surprised that it actually included all 3 new trucks. Usually with the PTS, the new maps would come out first, and then the trucks come a little later. If this is a sign of confidence, a sign that they are getting things ready ahead of schedule, then that's definitely good news. Regarding the content itself, we've known for a while that Phase 8 was going to have a focus on agriculture. We've also known for a while that as the final phase of Year 2, the Phase 8 region was going to be a full-sized region with 4 maps and a huge amount of content, just like Amur was for Year 1. Both of these things are indeed true. The region does have 4 maps and a huge number of contracts for you to do. If you expand the list, it actually runs off the page, and that's not even counting the map tasks. I have yet to leave the first map, but looking at the first map on its own, it's huge and also densely populated with facilities, items, vehicles, and map tasks. If the other 3 maps are just as dense, then we're gonna have a lot of content to play through. From the contracts, you can already tell that there's at least 1 other garage in this region that you have to build, and also a ton of unlockable facilities and cargo spots. And cargo crafting is here too, not to mention. I would expect the logistics and strategy for this region to be quite complex and interesting for players who like to challenge themselves to not just complete missions, but to clear the region as efficiently as possible by multitasking, chaining missions, doing certain missions first to make other missions easier, etc. There's also some completely new gameplay features. There's a bunch of farming missions in this region, and you get introduced to them quite early. You're going to need to use one of the 2 new farming tractors to attach the farming trailers in order to do those missions, but you do get the first one very early. It's basically free, and it's actually one of the better ones. It's technically locked behind a contract, but you can do that in like 3 minutes. All you have to do is pull the tractor out of a scrapyard right next to the garage and bring it back. I'm going to talk a little more about the new vehicles themselves in a moment. Overall, my first impression of the new region after quite a few hours of playing is pretty good. It's dense, it's interesting, and I'm expecting it to be challenging and have a bit of depth in terms of logistics and strategy. In terms of driving difficulty, at least the first map is pretty chill. Maybe some of the other maps will be more challenging in terms of not flipping over or getting stuck, but it certainly doesn't kick your ass right from the start like Amur or Kola Peninsula, where just driving is stressful anywhere more than 100 meters away from the garage. Now, let's talk about the new trucks. I'm actually really happy with the way these turned out. We're actually getting 3 new trucks in this phase instead of the usual 2. We're getting a 6x6 and 2 farming tractors. All of them are actually very good. Even the tractors, which I think are actually good enough to be useful outside of the farming missions where you have to use them. The Step 39331 Pike is our new 6x6. It weighs 7 tons, which is the exact same as the Bandit. And it also has access to the same engine set as the Bandit, giving it the same power to weight ratio, which is quite high. It accelerates very quickly and keeps that speed very easily, and it's overall able to move through the less stressful parts of the map very quickly. It's got always-on diff lock, it can do the crane bed trailer combo, although with very limited steering clearance for most trailers. It's got a roof rack with fuel and repair parts. I believe it's the only vanilla 6x6 that has that. And last but not least, it's got great suspension with a lot of flex to handle hills and ditches and uneven terrain really well, so long as the ground you're driving on is still hard. Soft ground is where the Pike starts to fall behind. Its largest wheel size is only 43 inches, and it doesn't even have dualies. Your best tire options are MHS2 for mud or MHS3 for dirt, but either way, the biggest wheel size is only 43 inches, so deep mud and snow is not going to be where the Pike shines. Still, the Pike already ticks enough boxes to be a pretty good truck. Setting aside the poor mud and snow performance, it's roughly in the same ballpark as the Voron and Taiga twins, and that's saying a lot because all four of them are great trucks. In fact, it should outclass all of them in terms of range because 1, it's lighter and uses a smaller engine, both of which makes it burn fuel slower, and 2, it can also carry the most fuel, tied with the Taiga at 330 liters thanks to the roof rack. And with repair parts on top of that, which none of those trucks can have. So compared to something like the Taigas and Vorons, the Pike basically trades mud and snow performance for range and self-sustainability. Overall, a great truck, a delight to drive, and looks pretty cool too. Now onto the farming tractors. I was quite impressed by the K7M and the K700. I was really worried at the start that we're going to get another Cat 770G situation where we get a specialty vehicle that only exists because it's required for certain missions and is useful for literally nothing else. I think it's a huge waste of development time to make a truck that most players are only going to use for 1 or 2 missions. I don't know why exactly they made the Cat 770G so limited in what it can do. It might have to do with licensing, which is why I got even more concerned when I found out that the Kirovets K7M and K700 also do exist in real life. Fortunately, the K7M and K700 are actually surprisingly great, with good performance and decent utility. Both vehicles have very good off-road performance thanks to massive mud tires with MSH friction numbers, so you can expect them to be similarly unstoppable as the Cat 745C or Zix in deep mud or snow. They also do have all-wheel drive, and it looks like they're going to have engageable diff lock as well. The default frame add-on is the special trailer hitch for the farming equipment, but they also have special custom van body add-ons that can carry repair parts, spare wheels, and in the case of the K7M, a decent amount of fuel, on top of an already large fuel tank. So these farm tractors actually make really good scouts and support/rescue vehicles in a roundabout way. The K7M is the more modern one out of the two, and it has the ability to equip comically large double mud tires. These have MSH friction numbers combined with what is probably the largest amount of contact surface area out of any truck in Snowrunner. You will never get stuck due to a lack of traction, and flipping over should be borderline impossible as well, although I feel like some of you guys are going to take that as a challenge. If you do get stuck, it's going to be due to a lack of engine power. It weighs 19.7 tons, but its best engine only outputs 17,000 units of torque, giving it a power to weight ratio similar to the P12, P16, and Cab over Kolob, which are at the absolute bottom of the entire game. It's able to pull its own weight, but probably not a whole lot else. Here you guys can see me going through the worst bits of mud in Wisconsin, where those ridiculous tires are really moving it along. But if you're expecting this thing to be good at pulling other trucks out of puddles, it might not do that super reliably. It's got the traction, sure, but maybe not the power. I think the K700, which is the older looking tractor, is where the real money is. The K700 has roughly the same engine torque output, but it's way lighter and way smaller. It still has huge mud tires with MSH friction numbers, just not the ultra wide dualies. But at 12 tons, it's the lightest truck in the game that has access to super heavy mud tires over 60 inches, which is kind of a distinct category. Almost every truck in the game with tires under 60 inches are trucks with tires 52 inches and below. There's very few trucks in that range in the middle, and if they even have mud tires, it's not the super heavy ones, which are much wider and have really high friction numbers for substance friction, which affects mud and snow. The next lightest truck in this category is the Zix at 21 tons. The K700 has those epic tires, but it weighs the same as a Taiga B, and it's barely bigger than a Scout and actually smaller than most 6x6 trucks. It's tall, but it's not long or wide, and as such, it's actually pretty nimble if you know how to manipulate the articulated steering. 175,000 units of torque for the top engine is still not that much. The Taiga B, for example, weighs the same, but the top engine has 200,000 units. For a 12-ton vehicle though, it's still plenty. It can definitely move its own weight and still have the power to spare for pulling other trucks, or for pulling cargo. Yes, did I mention that the K700 can actually move cargo? Unlike the K7M, which can only attach farming equipment, the K700 can actually attach normal trailers, In fact, it can attach normal trailers while wearing its van body add-on. Hopefully you guys can see why this K700 tractor has the potential to be actually useful beyond just the Phase 8 farming missions. It's got good off-road performance and a fair bit of utility. And that's about all I have to say about Phase 8 so far. I don't think I'm going to keep playing much further into Phase 8 until release. I've been around the first map already and I know that a lot of the mission details are still unfinished. I do kind of enjoy the element of surprise on my first time exploring each new region, so I don't want to spoil it by seeing all the maps before I'm actually able to do all of the missions. I hope this video gave you a good idea of what to expect in the upcoming DLC. I gotta say, overall it's looking pretty good, and it's shaping up to be a strong finish for Year 2 of Snowrunner. It's been a while since the last time I've made a video on Snowrunner, and while I'm definitely excited for Phase 8, I can't promise that I will be coming back in a big way in terms of Snowrunner content on this channel. There's a bunch of things for other games that I do want to make first, but hey, it's recently become clear that Snowrunner Year 3 is basically confirmed, and if this game is getting another year worth of content, then maybe I can justify getting invested again. Let me know what you want my next Snowrunner video to be about in the comments if you have any ideas. Leave a like on the video if you did like it, and until next time, have a great day.